is America and the world better off because of the war in Iraq?
The Americans are better off, the Iraqis are better off, and Iraq's neighbors are better off. Saddam Hussein is no longer a threat to Israel or to other neighbors around him. He's not building weapons of mass destruction. He's not threatening people with missile strikes. And you have a weak, divided government in Baghdad, in many ways or oftentimes infiltrated or controlled by Iran, but not completely so. You have a surprising story today of Muqtada Sadr, who everybody thought was an Iranian puppet. Now he is standing up to the Iranians. So Iraq is no longer a threat.
How is Sadr standing up to Iran?
He had a recent meeting with the new head of the Quds Force, the overseas terrorist arm of the Revolutionary Guards Corps, where he essentially blew him off. He said, I am not going to join a pro-Iranian government. My deputies are nationalist members of parliament, and we are going to support nationalists.
So
now,
you're telling me that this imam is an Iraqi before a Shiite?
Yes. He's an Iraqi Shiite, and he wore Arab clothing when he went to meet the head of the Quds Force, precisely to tell him, I am an Arab first and a Shiite second.
Wow, that's big time. I would not have predicted that. Do the Palestinians have any idea of how much the Iranians have helped Israel diplomatically?
The Palestinian leadership, Dennis, as you know very well, is so extraordinarily corrupt. And you have parts of the Palestinians who are supported by Iran. But I reported in my book meeting ordinary Palestinians, not just in Beirut as a hostage, but later on in the West Bank and later after that in Syria and other places. And the PLO was a terrorist organization first and foremost against Palestinians. I don't know how many Palestinians I met in the West Bank who told me, oh, don't say this, don't take notes, do not record this. But we do not want to be under Arafat's control. We would rather be under Israeli control, because at least then when we have a problem, we can go to court.
Yeah, how many Arabs in Israel have moved out of Israel to the West Bank or to Jordan? Is the number 0 or 3?
It might be 2.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. It's you have seen a lot of this. So, in a nutshell, I asked you this earlier. You said your book is not about this, which I appreciate, but I care about your opinion. What has happened to the profession of journalism?
Well, journalists have become, unfortunately, surrogates of the Democrat Party. We have a partisan, for the most part, we have a partisan press in the United States. Yes, there are Republican news outlets, but overwhelmingly this so-called mainstream media, the people I used to work for. I used to work for the New York Times. I worked for CBS News. I worked for ABC News. I wrote for Newsweek. I wrote for Time Magazine. All of those publications have now become part of the communications directorate of the Democrat National Committee. It's a crime. It is truly a crime. It is difficult to commit journalism in America today.